Hello, hello, hello.
Hello.
Hey, how's
How
it
are
going?
you?
How are you guys?
Doing great.
Yeah,
How are you?
I'm wonderful. I'm wonderful. I really appreciate you guys joining me today.
Yeah.
yeah. Appreciate you
Uh,
having us.
Absolutely. So, just to go ahead and jump in and get started, would you guys mind introducing yourselves and telling us who you are and what you do?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, for sure. So Terrance and Heather Grady, we have accidentally created a backyard farm on our property. It was part of a pandemic project, but through some kind of twists and turns of fate, it's got us really involved in the food equity space in our community, and we really enjoy teaching people how to garden and preserve food and sharing all the knowledge that we have on here and also on our website. So it's a little bit of.
Very nice. So would you guys mind telling us about those beginnings? I know I saw from parking lot to backyard farm kind of be said about you guys as well.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, I mean, so the backyard was kind of just full of kind of chunks of concrete
Hmm.
and like kind of rubble. It was essentially there was no fence in the backyard, so people just would pull in and park in the backyard. So we had to pull all of that out of the ground, kind of do some remediation to the soil. Um, it was somewhat of a slow process into kind of just jumping into turning our entire backyard into a growing space in 2020. So we started off with like a 4 by 16, 4 by 20 brick bed off to the left side. That was like the main growing space that we had for a few years. And our first kind of like dipping our toes into growing food in our backyard. Um, Having that, we really enjoyed kind of seeing, yeah, I mean, seeing, from seed to an actual plant where you can harvest from it, and really enjoyed that process. Um, so in 2020, when we were kind of trying to decide, we had done a few projects in the house and kind of got the inside of the house to where we wanted it. So we were trying to figure out what to do with the backyard and went through a few different ideas from, putting a massive concrete slab in the middle and kind of doing your typical sort of manicured backyard thing. But then we kind of kept coming back to a growing space, kind of an edible garden. And just I don't know, that kind of spoke to us and our purpose as a unit together, as well as kind of what we wanted to be able to do in terms of connecting and engaging with our community. Um, so yeah, in 2020 we decided to build a bunch of raised garden beds, take some cattle panel and create some archways to do some vertical gardening, and just really jumped into to growing. We had the time; we weren't going anywhere, as most
Absolutely.
people weren't, and realized really quickly that we were able to grow a lot of food in what we consider a relatively small space. So then we were trying to figure out what to do with that food, and I'll let you kind of take it from there.
Yeah, it was a really funny accident.
Yeah.
So Terrence is a planner, and I'm somebody who's just like, oh, I'm gonna do this thing. So we had started out with this really modest plan of like, okay, we're gonna have three raised beds back there, and by the time that we got done, we had
Wow.
14.
Yeah.
So it just kind of blew up really quickly. But yeah, we were quickly amazed and overwhelmed at how much food we can grow in our yard.
And now
So
it's moved
as
to the front.
it's okay, great. And as would you guys consider yourselves officially, 5 years in here, farmers? Like this is more than a hobby for you guys at this point.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, in a way, we've gotten better at it, so it takes less time now, honestly, which is great. It was initially around 20 hours of work a week that we were doing on top of our, regular 9 to 5 day job.
Right.
But it's definitely something that even this year we're expanding further. So every year we're like, we're not going to do as much. And then every winter we're like, we're going to do more. So yeah, I feel like that. I don't know. How do you feel?
Yeah, I don't think it's. I guess in a hobby, I'm thinking. I don't think it's really in the background anymore. I think it's kind of part of the fabric
Yeah.
of our life together, and kind of what we do on an annual basis. We just kind of we're, even though we go dormant, so to speak, in the winter. We're still taking in information and thinking on what we're going to do the following year and doing some planning. We continue to kind of get involved with the community of other gardeners in our neighborhood, as well as in the city, and in some of the surrounding areas as well. And then also just getting engaged with organizations working in the food access and equity space, in the ways that we can, as just being, as being home gardeners. I think this is something we'll continue to do for as long as we're able to do it. It's something that we enjoy to do together, and it gives us a sense of purpose and belonging. So, it's not something that we're necessarily augmenting our day-to-day jobs with, in terms of like providing income for us, but it is very much something that we enjoy doing, and we want to do. It isn't really it's not a hobby that we just kind of are able to touch at the times that we want to. It's kind of something that is somewhat taken on a life of its own, in a way.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so being in the Denver climate, what are some advantages and challenges that you guys could say come from being, so high in the sky at this
Y-
point?
Yeah, for sure. It's interesting. So Colorado, Denver's actually a high desert, and
Hmm.
so there's not a lot of water here. And that's a big challenge. Is we've really worked hard to figure out how can we be responsible with our water use. That was one of the reasons that we decided to grow food instead of a traditional lawn or something like that, because we feel like that water is so limited. If we're going to use it, we want to use it wisely. And so figuring out how to do drip irrigation efficiently, figuring out, we're trying to, Terrance is working on a rain collection system. Those are some of the things that make it challenging. And then the sun just is bonkers here, right? Because we're a mile above
Right.
sea level. And so we have to keep our soil, we have to be really good about mulching, keeping it covered all the time, because it'll just get solarized and baked in the sun. And then for the same reason, Terrance built this massive, it doubles as like a hail structure, but we also use it as a shade cover, because we don't have any trees at all in our backyard where our
Gotcha.
garden is, and you got to cover it, at least a little bit in the
Yeah.
hot summertime. So those are
Okay,
some
nice.
Growing season
advantages.
too, right?
Yeah.
Like the length of the growing season.
Oh yeah, and the length of the growing
Mhm.
season. We're jealous of you
Yeah.
and your ability to grow food pretty much all year. We definitely, we aspire to do that. We've
Mhm.
gotten better at using cold frames and figuring out how to grow kale into December, but yeah, it's definitely, there's 5 months where we're largely not harvesting much of
Uh,
anything.
And we're,
Um,
starting seeds inside and having to kind
Oh
of
yeah.
manage that and take care of those seeds for multiple months. I mean, we've already started some,
Yeah,
and so the basement kind of turns into an area for,
a little jungle down there.
yeah, for growing, and then from there we kind of take them and distribute them. Well, now we have a greenhouse, we can put them in there and hard them off, but we have to bring them in because there's
It's too cold.
swings. Yeah, the swings here in terms of the temperature, it could be really, really nice and comfortable during the day, and then hit below freezing at night. So uh, it's tough to get that. You have the fluctuations and unpredictability in that. So there's really a short period where, like, okay, it's safe to grow.
Yeah.
all right, but I mean, it seems like you guys have it figured out because from what it appears, you you guys, your harvests are not only are they abundant, but they're beautiful. Some of the finest looking plant crops that I've ever seen. And it's like I know you said, oh, you're jealous that we have more of a ability to grow year round down in these parts, but like, man, like even our farmers markets, like looking at what you guys post on your page versus, going out to the market and picking up some veggies, it's just like, dude, like you guys have it down to a science. You're locked in. You guys are locked in, honestly.
Thank
Um,
you.
and
Yeah,
still
thank you.
500 pounds in 5 years of food is, insane to not be able to grow for almost half of the year.
Yeah, yeah, we're really lucky. Um,
Um,
Go ahead.
Go for it. Sorry. I was gonna say, getting started, what kind of support did you guys receive from the city or state? Was it difficult to kind of get the ball rolling there, or was it fairly tedious and there were, like how did you guys handle the zoning regulations and things of that sort when it comes to being an urban homestead?
Well, we're lucky. Denver, there's only really one law that's in place currently in our city limits that says you can't grow food in your front yard, but really nobody enforces it. And so, yeah, from a zoning perspective, we didn't run into any challenges at
Hmm,
all. Then again, we're not out there like necessarily asking for permission. We're just kind
absolutely.
of doing. But yeah, I think we've been lucky that we live in a city that's pretty supportive. Like you can have backyard chickens here, or you can
Wow.
have
Yeah,
limited livestock in your yard. So yeah, they really enable people to kind of do what they want to do on their property. Thankfully, we don't live in a neighborhood with an HOA or anything like that that would make it
Right.
difficult.
yeah, yeah.
Well, that's amazing. And honestly, I wish, some cities, maybe like ones that I live in,
Yeah,
had the same mindset that enabled people to be able to grow their own food without, such difficulties and hoops to
yeah,
jump through.
yeah.
As growers and as farmers and distributors, what kind of support did you guys start receiving from your community once you started deciding that this was the route that you were going to take?
Yeah, it was really interesting. So this was not the plan, like I
Mhm.
said. But our Instagram account just really quickly kind of blew up.
Mhm.
One of our favorite local restaurants was reposting some of our content, and we got a bunch of followers from that. And then just in doing research and figuring out, because we don't sell any of the food that we grow, we donate it all. Because really, we want to support our community in that way. Because um, essentially, our neighborhood doesn't have access to a grocery store. Like, there's not one within 2.1 miles. So if you don't have a car or you don't have
Right.
transportation, right, it's very difficult. And then it's difficult to get a hold of fresh and healthy food.
Mhm.
So when we had all this abundance and we were like, oh my gosh, like we learned how to can and dehydrate and do all the things, right? But we still had so much food left over that we really were like researching what can we do. And we found some great local nonprofits that now T sits on the board for one of them, and I sit on the board for another one that do they T's nonprofit.
Yeah,
You can tell them about it.
yeah, Fresh Food Connect. It's a mobile app that allows gardeners to connect with food equity and food access organizations within the communities uh, locally in Colorado and actually throughout the nation. Um, so it's great because it's pretty easy for a gardener because you can just kind of say, hey, this is what I have, like this is the time to come pick it up, and someone will come pick it up for you from your home and take it to one of a variety of organizations that will then use it for their a variety of programs, but typically like their no cost grocery program. Um, so yeah, it's great. It's wonderful. Um, it's a really unique way to approach a problem that I think a lot of gardeners find themselves in, and then it ends up just being something that they're just using the water and the resources and then growing it, realizing they have too much, and then just throwing it back into compost.
Right.
So it's a
Right.
really expensive way to compost.
Yep.
Mm.
And then you can kind of tell about your board
Yeah, and
or
then
your
the
organization.
the food that we donate goes to a company that I sit on the board for that does no cost grocery programs. So the food that we grow actually goes to a senior center down the street, which is really cool to see the distribution process from start to finish. So yeah, it's plugged us into, like, we know our council people, we know a lot of people in the food space in Denver these days. We know some folks in the like climate sustainability office. It's just really plugged us into our community in ways that, yeah, we couldn't imagine. We've started to have some events here. It's just pretty cool. So,
And then just connecting with other gardeners too.
oh yeah, the
Uh,
gardening community here
yeah,
is incredible.
being able to exchange seeds, or maybe they have a particular crop that has done pretty well for them, and we
Hmm.
either just didn't plant it or have struggled with it, and doing like an exchange that way.
Yeah.
Um, it's kind of its own little small niche economy there.
Yeah, we've definitely got the exchange economy going. It's really fun to trade around and
I bet.
learn things from other people.
I love that. Honestly and truly, I'm living vicariously through you guys. Um, so misconceptions about homesteading. A lot of people think that they can't start homesteading because, they may not have the time, the budget, the space, things of that sort. Are there any misconceptions that you guys can kind of debunk? Because you guys even said you looked in your backyard and were like, hey, you know what? you know, but I do know a lot of people they hesitate from doing it because they feel like there's no way that I can make this happen with what I've got.
Yeah, I would say start small. Like
Hmm.
the misconception is that you're gonna immediately be immersed in this lifestyle, right? Where like, oh, you have a yard farm and you've got backyard chickens, and it doesn't have to start like that. Like, we started really small, and it took years for us to scale up to where we're at now. And so, really, I think the myth is you can look at something like what we're doing and feel intimidated and be like, I'm never going to get there. That's not possible. But yeah, starting small and learning, we make mistakes still. Like we enjoy to make mistakes because that's how we learn. And yeah, the idea that you're never going to kill a seedling or, you know, have some massive fungal issue in your soil, it just, yeah, all of those things are learning opportunities, I think.
Yeah, yeah, I completely agree. I think you just have to start. I also think, we have a tendency to think that we have to do it all ourselves. I would say, at the beginning, maybe before you even decide, just try to plug into a community of gardeners or people that are interested in the same thing that you are, so you can kind of, you can be part of that community, and they can help you in terms of education, learning, support. I mean, you still have to work. You still want to travel. Like being part of community, you can kind of help each other out, taking care of your space, or uh, um, pres- or having, exchanging knowledge in that way, um, as well. They also might just have infrastructure and tools and things that you can borrow and use. So I think starting there is a great place. I think, also just having a plan for what it is you're trying to do
Right.
initially too can help, a lot. I think sometimes, it, as much as there's kind of analysis or paralysis by analysis, but there could also just be like, I'm gonna jump in, and then, oh no, if I would have just taken like a few minutes to think about, what my intent here, um, things might have been a lot easier for me. So, I mean, it's as simple as like looking at what you eat on a weekly basis and saying, I'm not going to try to, uh, take it all out with what I'm growing, but maybe I'll just supplement a few of the key pieces, that I like to eat, and beginning there, um, I think is a huge benefit. And then I think trying to steer clear of trying to create so many efficiencies that you lose, like, there's a good balance. Like, efficiency allows you to do things, uh it allows you to do more with less resources, but then you lose some of the flexibility there, which can make you less adaptable. So I think it's learning how to balance that, and understanding, you know not everything needs to be optimized, because that also, some things are just going to be, um, strewn together and, I guess, janky, so to speak. And it just kind of is what it is. It's part of the beauty of growing in your own space, and not doing it at scale. So
Yeah, and we use a lot of trash, to be honest with you.
yeah,
Like from a
Hmm.
budget perspective, when we started this, we did not have the money to just shell out and buy
Right.
amazing metal raised beds, right? So we found a lot of stuff in the alley. We've repurposed a lot of things. We've got some like flower beds that are made out of tires that we painted. Like, you just be creative and
Yeah.
also buy stuff used. I mean, we try to encourage people not to buy anything, right? If you can avoid it, if you can make it yourself, if you can get it from somewhere and recycle it, like that's so much better. So places like Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace, where you can get a hold of shelves for cheap or wood or whatever it is, like finding those avenues to source things will definitely save money if folks are on a budget when they're getting started.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. So I have three questions that I would like a separate answer from each of you for. So the first question is going to be, what are Terrance and Heather's go-to beginner-friendly crops?
I'll answer because he'll think about it for a while.
Okay.
Let's see. Go to beginner crops, probably radishes, lettuce, and uh, I don't know, a brassica, kale.
Okay.
Nice. Yeah. Hmm. I would, I think I might just stick with herbs, like, your basil, your rosemary, your oregano, like
Hmm.
those just staples that are really easy to grow.
Right.
you know, I mean, yeah, like especially if you're just growing it in your backyard. I mean, it's a weed, especially the oregano. You have to actually actively manage keeping
Right.
it from kind of taking over your yard. So I think, yeah, I think starting out with. And you can do container gardening with those. You can grow them inside. You can. It's a really easy way to get into to growing something in gardening. So yeah, I think I'd go with that.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Okay. If somebody watched this live stream and decided, okay, I'm gonna start my homestead today, what is, I know we touched on it a little bit, but what is one thing you guys would recommend them to get to start with? So not as a plant, but just overall, if they decided I want to start my homestead today, what is the first thing you think they should do?
Go on YouTube. That's how we learned everything. I mean, either that or find a community organization like what T said before
Mhm.
that offers classes or something like that. Because the first thing that you want to do is learn about what you want to do, and there's so many great free resources. But YouTube was really how we learned so much starting
Okay,
out.
absolutely.
Yeah. Well, that's probably what I would have said. I'd say maybe try to find it. I'd say um, find out where your free seed library is,
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
and reach out and use that resource. Um, and then yeah, I'd say starting there, but try to find as many um, no cost resources as you can to get started, because typically from those resources you also will be able to link in to that community, and to those other individuals who probably have the knowledge and have been doing it for a while and can help smooth out uh, that process of starting. um, yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. And so I know you said that you guys kind of take the dormant times of the years to, do planning and things of that sort. What can we expect from you guys for 2025? Do you guys have any projects, expansions, events, things going on that we can expect? Or if it's a secret, it's all good.
No, we don't.
You-
We're bad at
Okay.
keeping secrets because we're just excited about what we're doing. Yeah, when we started, we bought the cheapest raised bed kits imaginable, so the
Mhm.
soil's like falling out of them. So we're actually going to have to tear out half of our garden in the backyard this year and redesign it, which is actually an opportunity
Yes,
that's exciting for us.
absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, because now you're like, oh, now I know now I know something about what we're doing. Yeah, so we're redesigning that. What are you're doing some solar projects, like putting
Yeah,
some solar in our greenhouse.
I think for us it's this year is going to be um, I guess improving aspects of the garden that have been pain points
Yeah.
for a while. So yeah, it's figuring out um, energy, like I guess, low energy input ways to make our greenhouse that we built last year, the small greenhouse we built last year, be able to have more more predictable and, like, I guess, sustainable temperature fluctuations. So it doesn't get it doesn't get too or as cold as it does during the winter. It doesn't get, uh, un
139
crazy
in the
hot
spring.
during the summer, or the spring, and trying to so that we could utilize it as more than um, just for more than just short periods of time during the season. Doing some similar projects in our chicken run, to just provide what we call, chicken enrichment, so that they're enjoying life in Colorado and Denver during the cold and some of the months where it's not as comfortable for them. And then I think we're also excited to I think we want to be better about hosting more community events in our space, more so than we've done in the past, and improving some aspects of the space. Also, just making it more inviting in that way, and being more intentional about what we're going to be doing with those events, and kind of what their purpose is. I think that's something we're also looking forward to this year, and we have in the plan. You created a nice little plan for us. Yeah.
Yeah, I hope to do a planting clinic this year, and then
Nice.
yeah, we're also finishing up building. We've been saving a bunch of seeds for the last couple years to put a curbside seed library in our front yard.
Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
So yeah, we've got a lot going on
So,
this spring summer.
yeah, we got a lot, but all good things. So
Yeah.
yeah,
100%.
it's gonna be great. Yeah.
Absolutely. I love that. Uh, with that being said, how could we support you guys, or how could those who may be local to you guys get involved?
That's a great question. We're really trying to move more away from putting all of our content on social media
Mhm.
and putting it onto a website, because we feel like it's just a better method for absorbing information for new folks. So I think, yeah, definitely subscribe to our newsletter on our website, and um, more than that, support the organizations that we love. That's what we really try to promote. Like, donate to Fresh Food Connect, donate to Denver Food Rescue. Yeah, that's really, more than anything. Those two organizations are really close to our heart.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Reach
Okay,
out,
well,
ask questions, be a part of the community.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Come to the
Yeah.
events that we have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and would you guys be able to, just run down your website for us really quickly?
Yeah,
Uh,
it's homesteadingendenver.com.
homesteadingendeavor.com.
Yeah.
And I know you said you guys are on social media, but you're trying to move more towards the website. Are you guys the same name across the board for your social medias as well, though?
Yeah, we don't have Facebook, but
Okay,
yep, TikTok and
absolutely.
Instagram.
Yeah.
Sounds
TikTok,
good.
Instagram, website. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Well, I really do appreciate you guys joining me today. And I again, I appreciate everything that you guys have going on your page. Just when it comes to urban homesteading, when I try to talk about it, there's only so much I can say. But without even knowing it, you guys are a resource that I can pull up and go to your page and say, look what these guys are doing here. And also, I take every opportunity I can to, when I'm meeting with our local politicians, to show them, like, look what other people are doing and look
Yeah.
what we're not, So it's
Yeah.
like, I just think it's
100%.
amazing what you guys have going on. And the support is there from my end. And I know the people that I have that support me would definitely support you guys. So
Yeah,
thank you again.
ditto. Like, we really love what you're doing
Yeah.
and love the model that you're trying to promote.
Absolutely.
And yeah, it's very near and dear to our hearts. So if there's anything we can do to support you, please let us know.
Yeah. We
Okay.
would, love to support you, love the work that you're doing. Really appreciate your time and
Yeah.
you allowing us to kind of be in your space and have this platform. So uh, keep it up. We're inspired by you.
I
So
Very
yeah.
much.
appreciate it. All right. Well, you guys take care and thank you again.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Absolutely. Have a good one.